Guys, welcome to the Primabolics podcast. Today we have an amazing guest on with Marc Lobliner. Marc has founded some amazing things out of the US with being the founder of Tiger Fitness, with whether it's Salvation, working with goBHB, working with, pretty much everyone over in the States. So Marc, I'd love for you, for my listeners who haven't crossed paths with you yet, over your decades in the game, to give us a bit of a rundown, mate, of what you're mostly working on now, and a bit of background of how you found yourself in the seat you are now.
Oh my goodness. So my life is pretty much goBHB. If you don't know about goBHB, when your body's fasting, or let's say you're lacking carbohydrate, it's called ketones. Now, ketones are beta hydroxybutyrate. Now, there are ways to get ketones through, you could call it precursors, but the problem with the precursors, one called 1,3-butanediol, is that it's an alcohol. Your body processes like an alcohol. It has toxicity like an alcohol that might create BHB or beta hydroxybutyrate in the liver. Now, goBHB is straight up bioidentical beta hydroxybutyrate to what your body produces. And that's pretty much my main project going on right now. Obviously, Ambrosia is a company. Ambrosia Collective with Microsheet and Chantor Body is something. Best-selling plant protein here in the States is Ambrosia Planta. TigerFitness.com, MTS Nutrition. Outright Bar. There's been a lot of things I've been a part of. Been in the industry since 1999. Spent a lot of time in Australia in 2009, 2010 range.
Yes.
Actually, 2007, went back in 2015. Probably spent 6 months to a year there in total. So I love Australia, man. You guys are great. I miss Australia. Has it changed much other than you guys like becoming a police state in the 2020, 2021 range? Or?
Mate, that was 100% that was a problem we've had. We're getting slightly better, I like to think. That was but 1,000,000%, man. I'm a big patriot, but that is an unfortunate thing we had a problem with.
I love us, dude. Australians are the nicest people on earth. And I felt so, because I live in Tennessee and we didn't do any of that. Like we didn't do anything. We were just like YOLO. Like we did not care. And I'm watching TV and there's like these, and I don't know, look, man, the news exaggerates things, right?
Yep.
And I'm seeing these like TikTokers in these camps, these barracks. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, you guys were so chill. This is the most chill country ever. You go to the Gold Coast, no one has a shirt on. You know, everybody says that the most beautiful people are like in California. No. Y'all ain't never been to the Gold Coast. Y'all ain't never been over there, because you go over there and every girl, at least maybe it's just me looking at, but I'm looking around, all the girls are hot. All the dudes are hot. Like, I'm like, at that point, I'm bisexual. I'm like, this is amazing. And I mean, I loved it there. I actually looked at getting a condo in Brisbane. I absolutely love it.
No way.
Oh man. I love, hopefully you guys still got your vibe on the Gold Coast.
We do, mate. The Gold Coast is like the Miami of Australia, 100%. It is doing wonderful things.
Now, Melbourne sucks.
Man.
Like, why is it cold? Like, you're Australia. Why is it cold? Every time I go to Melbourne, it's like 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like negative 800 Celsius. I don't know what it is. But I go to Melbourne, I'm like, okay, I literally went from the Gold Coast to Melbourne for a trade show. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I went from beautiful women to this shit.
And sunny skies and beautiful beaches. And now you've been thrown in the tundra. It's terrible, man. Terrible. So that was you here with, that was you here with MTS, right? Like, so you're over here with MTS at the time, right? Touring?
So I did MTS first, and then we did Ambrosia, and also I went with Chantor Body and Doug Miller a couple times we called it the Gains Tour with Core, HPN, and MTS. That was a great time. Wow. Some of my best memories outside of stuff I do with my family is those trips. I mean, it was tiresome. We visited all 5 states. We were all over the place. I mean, west to east, east to west. I think we went to we went not too inland. I always wanted, what is it? Alice Springs is kind of on the interior.
Yeah.
That was going to be the next trip, but then distribution kind of fell through, and I'm like, man, that's a long flight. I'm good.
That is a long flight. Alice Springs is a proper distance. That's a red hot trek. So for your the amount of brands you've been involved in is huge, man. Like Ambrosia with Microsheet is huge. Obviously with MTS, your own brand, you've had that for mean, that's been at least 10 years. What's that, 10?
2011.
2011? Wow, mate.
Yeah, it's 15 years.
Wow. So Primabolics Nutrition, we started I founded it in 2015, so we're going on 10 years this year. So to be a brand that's continually evolving and keeping up with the times and innovating, to still be relevant, from 2011, it's 16 years. What have you always seem to be on the forefront of stuff. Whenever I'm watching your content, you're always looking at new things. Even today on your YouTube channel, you're pulling up new white paper studies on ingredients. How are you keeping relevant over a 15-year time span in an industry that changes every 10 seconds?
I don't think I'm relevant. I'm just an old guy, I mean, dude, my daughter is a junior in university. She's 20 years old. That's how old I am. I have a daughter who's as old as most of your viewers, right? And no, you guys can't have her number, and she's not moving to Australia. It's not happening. And I can still fight. So like, I think it's, an insatiable hunger and passion for science and constant improvement. So you got it on the professional level, right? Like if you're going to do something, be good at it. Okay. When I'm like, okay, next chapter, goBHB. I'm going to learn everything I can about how this works in the body, what it does, how it works with other things. But at the same time, you're now in the ingredient world. So now it's like, okay, we're partnering with guys like, our friends Larry over at TSI with Infinity Paraxanthine. We got our good friends and partners at NNB with all their new ingredients like Purist Creatine. And it's about knowing how the ingredients work, knowing how they work together. And also with brands, in the last year, there's probably 40 or 50 products that you're taking or your viewers are taking every day that I had a hand in formulating. So, I mean, it's just a matter of loving what you do. And let me expand on that. I don't mean to be long-winded, but do. I don't think there's anything I wouldn't love doing. Like if I'm building boats, I'm going to learn everything I can about being the best boat builder in the world. When I played American football, I think you guys call it gridiron out there. Then you call that other crap soccer football or whatever. That's your European flair. I'm not mad at it. You guys are literally prisoners from Europe. So I'm not even mad.
We are colonialists.
Yeah, yes. you're a prison colony.
It is, man. We're an experiment. We're a social experiment that somehow went well.
And you guys are better than Europe. That's how good it was. The criminals are doing better than the people who sent them. And they gave you the most beautiful land ever. They're like, here you go. Here's a beautiful island. Here's your punishment.
We're going to give you utopia to go live on. Yeah. Oh, please don't. Yeah, but mate, I like that.
Yeah, so
I like that messaging, the really own your craft thing. I feel like that was.
Oh my God. When I played football, I was undersized, right? Like these guys are giants. At that time I was taller because as you get older, guys, not even lying, like you get shorter. Like I've lost 2 inches. Everywhere. Everything's 2 inches shorter on me. And that's what I tell my wife. And it used to be bigger, I swear to God. So, when I played football, I managed to, get scouted and recruited by universities to play football there because I learned the game. I learned technique. I learned all these different ways around my inadequacy. So while I might not be the smartest guy, I might not have the most God-given gifts. I have one God-given gift, whether it's inherited or whether it's learned, is that I will outwork everybody on this planet and I will do whatever it takes to succeed.
Mate, there's a lot to be said for that. I've been very lucky to get on some amazing guests on this podcast, and I think that seems to be a common thread, almost those two things, right? One just being sickeningly, passionately, absurdly obsessed with your craft, and 2 is running it at a pace that most people, by standards, probably look at it and go, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you running? Like, those 2 common threads, I mean, whether I'm talking guys who have run, 8, 9-figure businesses right down through to, the solo entrepreneur founder of a brand, it's mental, man. Seeing that seems to be the 2 common themes. They're obsessed, sickeningly obsessed with what they're doing, and they work at it at a sickening pace. And those 2 things just seem to be this common thread that goes through all the different people I've interviewed in nearly 100 podcasts across multiple platforms. That seems to be a common thread. So, but I love that you said the really just being about it. Even if you're building boats, you'd still be an expert on it. I can see that with the way that you're approaching everything you've been involved in. How did you get to, I suppose, because you've been working with NMB Nutrition, and I was lucky enough to have Sean Wells on a few weeks ago talking about Purist Creatine.
Yeah.
We've launched Purist over here in Australia. And I saw you were on a podcast there with...
You mean this?
Yeah, beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Great minds think alike. Yeah, we're still a little upset at Germany for 1940s, and so I'm like, we're gonna go. No, I'm just playing. Creapure is an amazing creatine. It is the gold standard, and Sean and Kai Lin and his team at NNB just made a even more pure, like you took the gold standard of purity and make it even more pure. And that's what they did. And they made it decently affordable, and the mesh is phenomenal. I love it.
It is beautiful stuff. I think we had a shoot. It was probably even last week. We were mixing 30 grams in a glass of water on camera live, and just watch it just dissolve. It was crazy. It is a beautiful material to work with. And I saw that you've been doing some work with NMB Nutrition before, so it just ties in that whole. I can see you just getting really fascinated by the ingredient side. Has that been more your recent part of your career, is going more towards like the single ingredients and work with develop like innovation around formulating new ingredients and so on? Is that really what sort of sets you on fire lately?
Well, I mean, if you look back at, you take Extend, right? Which is my, that's the intra-workout category. I'm going to credit my team, but a lot of people credit me with popularizing that category, which is, essentially probably a 100, 200, $500 million category. I don't even know. But when I started with that, branched amino acids weren't available in drinkable form. There were some very disgusting products on the market. We just made them taste good. And at that time we had data on wrestlers, believe it or not, and branched amino acids. And then we funded our own study in 2009, which is available and published, where there was phenomenal results from intra-workout branched amino acid consumption. And it was a well-done study. I would have had more people, but we couldn't afford more people. If you guys know, I'll tell you on the ingredient side, I just did a video on my YouTube channel about this new 2-gram study we have on goBHB. Every time you see a study, you're looking at 6 to 7 figures. So, at that time, Scivation in 2009, 2008 is when we started it, wasn't big enough to afford a $2 million study. So we had 36 subjects. So, but what was that product known for? Well, at that time, everything was proprietary blends. And I listed out every ingredient by ingredient, and people copied me, and that was okay. But I was always about transparency, and I am the consumer. And we also got really popular for posting our lab tests online. And this is in 2005, 2006. And we were posting our lab tests, and people never saw that before. They're like, wow, this company they really care. And we really do, because I take all my own products. I am an embodiment of loving and living what I do. And that's not bragging. It's almost embarrassing how serious I take my job. And the next, where I think, at this phase of my life where God put me at, I had so many opportunities to formulate thousands of products, and, the ingredient side, especially, and let me put it this way. I wouldn't go on the ingredient side for any ingredient. Like I wouldn't be out here just pumping creatine. Why? Because it's been done. It's awesome. But, I truly feel that where God put me is, goBHB is literally the greatest technology of this century, and what it does for overall health and performance, from athletes to youth. It's safe for kids to elderly, Alzheimer's, dementia, concussion mitigation, weight loss, muscle preservation while dieting. All this data is there, and we keep doing more and more data. So I think it's just where I was meant to be. I didn't mean to come here. It wasn't like I applied for a job or sent my resume. It's just, by circumstances in life and things happening, I met the founder of Ketone Labs. His name's Rob Rogers, and I love that guy. And, we happen to share a vision, and here we are today. So I just think it's where the evolution goes is, you go into the broad spectrum of formulation, and then you get so fascinated with it that you want more. And the only way to get more is to go to what's building. these products rather than just saying, okay, I need I need some kind of a choline donor. Okay, I need a citrulline. Okay, I need something for energy. This, so you're putting together this formula, and it works. The synergies work, right? It complements each other. But let's go deeper. And how do they actually work? And how can you make them better? And how can you deliver it to people better? And how can you get people better results? Because I know, just looking at your product line, you're not coming out with BS. Like, you're coming out with products to help people. And there's two types of brands. And this is something I've learned. There's a brand who just wants to sell product and liquid and just sell the business and profit. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm a capitalist. But I do think that the other side is the person who really and truly wants to help their customers and who wants to see people achieve and succeed, while at the same time providing them and their families a good life and a good living and an honest living. And that's where I see it. Like, and I see your brand as being one of those. You know, it's like, okay, I'm here for the right reasons. Like, you don't have to do a podcast. And I'm sure probably the cost of putting it together doesn't pay off, but you do it because you're educating people, and that's the right thing to do.
100%, mate. And thank you for recognizing it. As well as the guys who are listening as well at home. Mark and I haven't spoken before this previously. I've followed your work for quite some time, but we didn't chat before. Mark's just been kind enough to have a look at the brand, but that is a really nice summary, man. That's exactly where I see the two categories. You've got the over-commercialized brands where it's all marketing and, proprietary blended pixie dust stuff that just goes out and does its thing and cool. And then you've got, people who are trying to actually do something. And for many years, that means that I'm putting, double, triple the active ingredients per serve for most people, and I'm making far less profit from doing so. But I'm also having people DM me every day going, man, I used your sleep product, and now you watch them, they've looked like they've reverse aged from the cortisol changes. You're looking at people use my dental test boosters, and I'm getting to do bloods and sending them in, and I'm seeing crazy changes in their blood panels on and that sort of stuff. You can't, that's what keeps you going, right? I'm 10 years, you're a fair bit further down the track. I don't think you can sustain yourself otherwise unless you're in it for that cause, unless this is something that has a very deep purpose to it, unless you're doing something that actually benefits people and has some big impacts. That impact that you're creating, it's a marathon, right? If you want to be doing this thing, if you want to create a legacy and master your craft, you want to be doing it for decades, you can't just doing that by going, hey, I just want to move products, right? I would like to think you want to live a life of meaning and purpose, and that means you're doing something that actually impacts people positively. So yeah, man, thank you for that summary, and likewise, it's cool to see. I can tell the way that you talk about ingredients. I watched that BHB one, and we'll jump into that in a second. I watched your pulling apart that study with goBHB doing the lower dose one, and I can tell, man, you're excited. Like, you're actually G'd up talking about white paper studies. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's my kind of nerd. I love that guy. That's cool.
Yeah, you don't envy my wife. She has to hear me. Like, can you imagine? Like, her life sucks. Like, she has to live with me. Like, I'm literally like, I am the most adolescent, just immature 45-year-old who's ever walked the planet. Like, I'll just walk up behind my kids and push them. Like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, but it's what I've found in life though. Like, I try to embarrass my children in front of their friends. And if you're jacked, you just get away with it. Like, their friends are like, yeah, it's fine. Your dad's a pro bodybuilder. It's okay. I think that the key to life is just being jacked, and you get away with a lot of stuff. Like, I get away with stupid things, and kids are the teenagers. They're still like, well, yeah, your dad is, he does have a big YouTube channel, so we'll let it slide. It's like,
and man, I don't think
it works out.
People don't always understand, because I think a lot of times people can see like the overnight success part. They see you're following it where it is now, the amount of brands you're working in. They don't understand. I think when I was looking back, it was something like some of the early videos were like 13 or 14 years consistently you've been putting out content onto that YouTube channel, right? So like, I think there's something to be spoken there about. Just the sheer amount of time and effort it takes to really excel in something. You know what I mean? I really think that needs to be hammered home. Like, you would have done, how many hundreds of videos would you have done on this channel? It'd be heaps, wouldn't it?
Oh no, we're at over 10,000. I mean, since 2011. And yeah, I don't get the views I used to. When I started in YouTube, there was 3 other channels. There were the Hodge twins. They were
massive
twin muscle workout, Louis Marco, and Scooby. And then I came along a little bit later, Chris Jones, then the CT Fletcher, Mike Rashid, those guys came on. And then you had Matt Ogus and Lovato, but I was basically one of the first handful of fitness channels. So I naturally just got views, and I never edit my videos. I mean, I just basically, I don't have time. I'll film the video, and then I just
shoot and post,
download it and upload to YouTube. And then now that there's AI, I don't have to pay anybody for a thumbnail. So I just pop an AI thumbnail and I'm good to go. So I don't deserve more views because I don't put it. These guys are literally spending money to make videos. Like, they're putting time into it. They're doing scripts. Half the time I'm just rattling off BS. I might put a couple notes down if there's a study, but like if I stumble on words or say something wrong, it's because I'm just making shit up.
You earn that. You earn that, man. 10,000 videos in, you earn that. You know what I mean? Like, if you once you get to that sort of volume, we're like, okay, you're allowed to have 1 or 2% fluff because after 10,000 reps, you're doing all right. You earn that street cred. You get a whole pass.
Well, the thing is, what it does say is I'm usually speaking off the top of my head, and it's just over years you can accumulate knowledge. Like, our company, we have a book thing. We just read this book called Hacking the Human Mind. So it's all about, and it's a great book, but I mean, it's all about just constantly, striving for knowledge, whether it's how to manage your employees, whether it's how to, interact with others, whether it's how to sell, whether it's, the biochemistry of what you're doing. I think that all of us, even if you go to university, and in America, we call it college, but we're going to play along.
Thank you.
When you go to university, see, you could tell I've been to Australia. I got the vernacular.
He's cultured, this man.
and grit, and I said gridiron too. You like that?
Dude, you've done well. You've done well. You're catering to my audience. Thank you for translating.
You know what? When in Rome, but yeah, I mean, we come out of university and you majored in whatever. Let's say my major was marketing, but there's no major in supplement brand management, or there's no major in what supplement ingredients do combine well together, right? Those are all learned things. So when people come out and they're like, I have a PhD in physiology, I'm like, cool. What does that have to do with making a protein powder? I don't care. It's about what you learn after school. And if you look at the most successful people in the world, like Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, love them or hate them, those dudes they didn't finish college.
Self-taught.
I don't think Zuckerberg did. I'm pretty sure he didn't.
I think he built it at college.
I know Bill Gates didn't.
Yeah, I think he I don't think he ended up bothering completing his degree because he was just such a...
Nah, Bill Gates didn't. Bill Gates was like, I'm good. I'm just going to go be a billionaire and go to Epstein Island, and have a good time.
I'll just go Excel. The billionaire road is an enviable path. So in your sort of experience here, I guess looking at these ones, the self-taught part, I agree, man, because there is no, in Australia anyway, so you've got like personal training, online, coach, whether they're coaches, whether they're, exercise physiology, whether it's sports nutrition, they're all peripheral to supplementation, but I don't think anyone gets quite in the weeds of how it is. So when you're learning to formulate, you're dead right, man. Like, my bachelor was Bachelor of Science as the base to it, but I was actually an environmental scientist for 5 years before I did this. So I knew, like, how to read papers, how to write studies, how to peer review, blah, blah.
Yep.
But there's no course, there's no place. Like, I built an RTO last year for supplements in Australia because there is 0 places you can go to even if you wanted to educate yourself on it, there's nowhere to go. Like, it has to be self-taught. You have to be a nerd. You have to want to you have to be really interested in this stuff to want to read the volume of papers you have to, and try it on people and see what customers' feedback actually is, and guinea pig it yourself, and look at all your Oura Ring data and Whoop data, and look at all your, you have to be really obsessed with the stuff to learn it all. So yeah,
and what's really a cheat code, and a lot of people don't like AI, and I do have some questions about where it's going to go in the future, but I'm not saying like have it write your essay for school. But what I'm saying is you could literally put a prompt on ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or whichever one you use, say, pull up the 5 most recent studies on blank. And it has the studies listed, where before it would take me 5 hours to just browse through PubMed.
Yep.
Where if you want to learn about a topic, whether good or bad, and you can even prompt it, I want all the positive and negative studies on creatine done since 2010. And you could pull it up. So AI has allowed me to digest a lot more science than I've ever digested before, where I'll literally, Sundays, Sometimes my kids wrestle. Both my boys wrestle right now. So when there's not a wrestling tournament, I'll literally, sit on my chair in my living room and just browse studies and just enrich myself in just, useless knowledge. I also like history.
Yep.
I like learning about history. I love learning things that you could just conversation pieces, like, obscure things like the Battle of Utah in the United States when the federal government lost a war to the Mormons. Nobody knows about the Battle of Utah.
Well, because no
I
one would
know
like to admit
about the Battle of Utah.
yeah, you first guy.
There's gonna be a huge Google search for like, why is everybody in Australia looking up the Battle of Utah?
Man, I think that's a great point though. Like whatever your stance is on AI, there's a whole mix of either the existential crisis mob, and then there's the people who are using it as a super productivity tool in business. I find it a fascinating platform though, because you're right, the amount of access we have to information. I think for supplements, you were one of the early guys to stop proprietary blending and start doing transparent panels, right? And I think now that's the superpower of brands like us who put the effort in and dose things as per the studies. When now a consumer can pick up a tub, go to the back of it, get the panel, take a photo, dump it in chat, and they can pull the panel apart for them, and they can finally go, oh. Whereas before, so it's an amazing era we're in where people have access to so much more information than they ever have, and that's a blessing. And you're right, mate. For us, it is so much simpler as well. Give me it is incredible as a tool. So I encourage anyone who wants to learn more about how their body works. I think everyone should be in charge of their own health, and if you find something you're enjoying as a supplement consumer, what the product's doing, please look into it, understand how is it helping your body. Like this new area you've become obsessed with, I'm actually finding fascinating, mate, with goBHB and with ketone salts. Like I think this is a whole new area where in a country where, here in Australia, 65% of people are overweight or obese, and there's a massive increase in metabolic diseases, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, inflammation. So, mate, run me through, I suppose, where you've become obsessed about this. How has this become your Sunday sort of, geek out sesh recently?
Well, if you look at what's going on, right, you have insulin resistance, right? That's the thing. You have obesity, and with that comes cognitive decline. All those things are interconnected. And then you have liver health, kidney health, heart health, and then you have energy, right? And then there's one way to do it. I love caffeine. I'm not giving up caffeine. I love my caffeine. But there's two types of energy. There's stimulant energy and cellular energy. So when you take caffeine, it basically, here's adenosine, right? Adenosine's flowing in. Adenosine's your get tired hormone, right? And it blocks adenosine. So what happens when caffeine wears off, it comes flowing right in. Just like if you had a dam blocking water from flowing, it breaks. That water's coming flowing in. So what goBHB does, it actually powers your mitochondria. So it provides direct ATP to your cells. So that ATP is going to power you, providing power to your cells. And another thing, if you give your brain ketones, aka BHB, or glucose, it's going to preferentially go to the ketones. So it is your brain's preferred fuel source. And here's another thing. People think, well, I'm not on a keto diet, so I don't need it. Well, what are you producing to be on the keto diet that makes it the keto diet? You're producing ketones. So you don't have glucose, you have ketones. That's still great. You're getting extra ketones. That's great. But like, if you have glucose, let's say you eat carbs. I assume you eat carbs. I love carbs. And what if you were able to add that extra energy source? And it has all these therapeutic benefits, from insulin control, blood sugar control, weight management, tremendous weight loss studies, some of the best weight loss studies in any supplement. Actually, it's the most impressive weight loss data I've seen. Muscle preservation data while in a caloric deficit. And you have heart health. Okay, and I go into the isomers if you really want to nerd out. Heart health. It's used in stage 4 kidney disease treatment. It's a medically approved food. It's a medically approved food for migraine. And it's therapeutic for the liver. So when you're looking at all the things we throw at our body, it's something that'll give you an ergogenic benefit. It'll give you an energetic benefit. It'll give you a potential weight loss benefit. It'll give you a muscle preservation, which I would extrapolate to mean if I'm in a caloric surplus, it might actually help me put on some muscle.
You think?
I have no data to back that up. That's just my brain going where it goes. And I would love to see more data. But what happens, you combine it with caffeine. You have cellular energy and stimulant energy, and you have the best of both worlds. So it changed my life. Like anybody else, even though you might not believe me, I did have afternoon slumps. I get tired. I travel a lot. So just dealing with jet lag, different time zones, going state to state, I've never felt better. My inflammation is down. I don't get inflamed after flights. Mental clarity is always on point. It's changed my life. It also has ramifications in concussion mitigation. When you get hit on the head, your brain can't metabolize glucose. And that's why you have those post-concussion issues, but it can metabolize BHB. So we're using it in professional athletes in NFL and MMA and boxing for concussion prevention and mitigation. Now, it doesn't prevent a concussion, but if you have BHB in your system, when you get donked in the head, it can immediately go to start recovery. And then you got menopause for women. Women get brain fog, all these different, why? Same reason. Your brain can't metabolize glucose as efficiently, so the ketones feed their brain. And vis-a-vis, you go to PMS. Women with PMS, it helps them tremendously in dealing with the symptoms of PMS, food cravings. It also can help with appetite. Basically think about it. You're giving your body this energy fuel source. So you're going to lack cravings because your body's not having that fight or flight signal. So it has a nice anorectic effect too.
It's got some crazy things there to cover on. I'm going to go one onto the estrogen part and go, it's interesting when you see the impact of insulin resistance / blood sugar management being poor with hormonal issues. So you'll see people who have, let's say like myoinositol, really like classic OG supplement sort of thing. But when you look at, when people have good doses of myoinositol, you'll often see PMS improves, people with PCOS get massive improvements as well. Endometriosis, usually remission of PMS symptoms as well. So you often see things that influence blood sugar regulation, like myoinositol does, really improve the hormonal profiles, of people that are supplementing with it. So I can imagine how ketones, which again are going to be, I suppose, bypassing that the need to run on carbohydrates or blood sugar. We're not even looking at glycogen anymore. We're going straight in as a direct fuel source. I can see how that could be beneficial. What was the applications though in cognition? Because I think I saw it when I was in the US last year a few times. I saw it being paired with things like paraxanthine, being paired in stimulant-based pre-workouts, being paired in RTDs. It's fascinating where it's going, man. It's going very much in the biohacking, nootropic sort of space. Run me through some benefits there, man. I'd love to know more.
So we just had a study published by Dr. Jose Antonio and his team that we wanted to know we want to see what the lowest dose for effectiveness is. So the other doses, the lowest we've gone is 5 grams. So we did a 2-gram study. Okay, 2 grams. And here's the crazy part. Massive. I mean, we had over, I think it was 138 subjects. And you had the LBHB and the DBHB. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then placebo. So the LBHB is found 36% in the heart. And also, as you'll find from the study, acts as a signaling molecule for the brain. And the DBHB is the BHB that is found mostly in your body. 98% of the concentration is D. But the L turns out to be kind of the magical one, even though they're both. Now, if I'm doing a BHB, like, for example, MTS or Clean Form, these are both a DL combo 50-50. That's my favorite because it's the best of both worlds. Why choose? And if you want more of one, just take more, right? Like, just might as well. There's no LD50, so there's no overdose. Like, you can't get a toxic level of BHB. It's bioidentical to what your body produces. So we took these 2 grams. So this is a cognition study. So both groups had improvement in recall, reaction time, which is huge for sport, huge for everything, at 2 grams. But even though they both did very well, the L outperformed the D. Now, before the L was just a part of it, right? Like, you had the DL was the blend they made, but everybody thought the D was doing all the work.
Yeah, yep.
When in reality, the L, after we're like, this is doing something, and then people would take it isolated. And if you take 5 grams, there's energy drinks that just have only BHB in it.
Yes.
People are feeling it. They're replacing their caffeine drinks with it. So when you take the L alone, you take 5 grams of the L, and you're going to, if you don't feel it, like, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. Like, you feel this, like, not like when I say buzz, it's not like alcohol, but just like, oh, my brain just woke up. It's like someone took defibrillators, just pounded your brain with them.
It's a nice
And
change, isn't it, man? Because I think they got wasted. I feel like ketones got almost wasted on just being seen as a
keto.
tool for keto dieting earlier on. I went a few years ago here in Australia was the craze, and it sort of came and
Yep.
went, and it was a massive trend, but it was alongside the dieting intervention. But now seeing it in the US, like formulators using it alongside, pre-workout products and looking at mitochondrial function is awesome. And I love
Yep.
before you said caffeine isn't actually an energy source. I'm like, thank God someone else is finally saying that it's not an energy system,
It's
right? Like we're not producing ATP, we're not enhancing the Krebs cycle at all. We're not, not the thing that actually fuels the cells is not being helped in any way by stimulants. If anything, people are already so fried, they're burning the candle at both ends, they're living in a bath of cortisol already. They don't need more stimulants. They need better cellular function though. So I'm seeing some good applications, but you're saying 2 grams was positive. What were some of the standouts from that study, mate, in terms of like, if you could share with some of our listeners, like some of the metrics, like what did you see at 2 grams versus say 5? Because I'd love to get my listeners, if they want to experiment with themselves, what they should be using.
So here's the problem. The 5-gram study is ongoing right now. So we want to see the differences when you increase the dose. So there's 3 concurrent studies and they're being finished, as one gets published, the other's being finished. And then they have to go on to write it up and do all the nerd stuff and then publish it. And publishing takes whatever amount of time. These are published in very credible journals. They're not just published in like some backyard, like plant magazine, right? These are published in reputable journals by, if you know Jose Antonio, he's the president of the ISSN. Like that dude's not going to stake his reputation. Double blind, gold standard study. So the 5-gram study is ongoing right now. And then we also have a higher study, even higher dose going on with Dr. Jeff Folek over at the Ohio State University. So there's 3 studies measuring similar things. So we can figure out, my gut feeling, and my general recommendation is take 10 to 20 grams a day, because then you're covering all claims. All the studies we have, personally, I'm in the 30 to 50 gram range. But like you, I'm not going to tell anyone to blow their entire paycheck on. You can afford 2 scoops a day, but to tell someone they can afford 6 scoops a day, I don't know how good the economy is in Australia, but if it's like the US, you're probably not going to want to do that. So we know you get something out of 2 grams. And for applications, so what that does is, let's say you're creating a pre-workout, you know that you're going to get something and get some good structure function claims, which is structure function. For those of you watching, it's what we're legally allowed to say our product does. That has to be backed by studies, and you have to be able to, he has to be able to show it to TGA. I have to be able to show it to the FDA, FTC. That's what a structure function claim is. So if we say structure function claim, it is actually a government regulated thing where you have to have science backing your claims. So 2 grams, you're going to get something. But if I'm an individual, I'm going to buy a formula for, let's say, my pre-workout with goBHB in it, but I want to hit that 10 to 20 gram mark because I know of the other benefits that it's going to be having. So that's where I personally put it. But I'm going to guess that the 5 gram is going to have more. It's going to be more noticeable, meaning that these are statistically significant results, but I feel that they'll be even more statistically significant. And I don't know where the thing is. I don't know where the point of diminishing returns is. We don't know. I'll tell you what, I felt good at 5. I felt great at 10. I felt better at 20. Do I feel better? I don't know. It could be 20. And it also depends on this taxing. Like if you're running a marathon or if you're in a hard contest prep, if you're a bodybuilder, because I was taking it when I got my pro card in 21. I had a product called Ritual AM by Ambrosia.
Oh yeah, great.
I didn't even realize. Yeah, it was amazing. And there were 6 grams of BHB per scoop and it was delicious. And I was dieting. I was drinking. I was getting 20 grams a day. I was drinking at least 3 to 4 scoops a day. And it was the easiest prep ever. And I had no idea I thought I was just like turning into a man and I wasn't a little bitch while competing. Like my wife was like, I didn't even know you were competing. I'm like, yeah, me neither. It was really easy.
Is there any applications, talking performance, right? So during hardcore comp preps where training output is one of the few sports where training output increases as calories decrease.
Yeah.
It's a weird,
stupid, right?
It's a weird sport like that, right? Like your maximal training output with the least fueling. So it's a really great experiment. And I was lucky enough to get on like Dr. Bill Campbell when he was doing some really good research around bodybuilders doing natural comp preps as well, and studying like, their base metabolic rate, their testosterone levels, thyroid function, all that sort of stuff. Now, when talking about, we have a big audience of guys who are serious athletes, coaches, PTs, competitive guys themselves. We've got a big range. We work with guys with our HASTA approved range, guys who are like right up to like just flying overseas, competing in sports, epic. I can imagine ketones would have an epic application for guys in endurance sports, I would think. And I would imagine in cardiovascular training, if you're sticking in that zone 2, zone 3, where your fat utilization is like 65, 75%, this should probably be something that could be a bit of a super hack for them. So what have you found in the studies around performance specifically with BHB?
Dual fuel. Think about it this way. Like, you're a runner, you got the ketones in your system and the glucose. So you're going to have that dual fuel, which is a huge thing. We have a lot of the Tour de France guys using that, where we're not telling people to go on a keto diet. We're just saying add ketones to your energy. So there's a lot of people coming. We have some brands coming out with these gel packs that kind of like, those runners gels, those weirdos take, where they're in the middle of the race and they shove this thing in their mouth and they put this gooey shit in there. So they're actually pairing carbohydrate with the goBHB. And what that's doing is giving you dual energy. So the brain, the body, it's going to go to the ketones and it's going to spare the glucose. So it's going to put you in a much better place, much better spot. So I think that even intra workout, now we have the muscle preservation study that was just published 7 weeks ago, where phenomenal study, done by Dr. Timothy Sheet, Bickman's lab put together the paper, and fantastic study where you have muscle preservation data right up there with creatine, and probably as good as any ergogenic supplement, I'm going to say. And you're going to have these guys, I know how YouTube works. I've been there a while. Well, steroids. It's like, cool. Steroids. So just for the record, guys, steroids absolutely do work. But here's the thing. If you've ever met an IFBB Pro or a guy who takes steroids, they're usually taking supplements too. And because they all have a place. Now, if you're a natural athlete for muscle preservation, if you're prepping or simply leaning out, you need goBHB just for the muscle preservation. The data's there. Like, I'm not just coming up with some hypothesis based on a pathway. We actually have a well-designed, 7-figure study to back it up. So muscle preservation is absolutely there. So if you're a natural athlete, that's there. I'll take it further. Even more important for you, I know steroids are illegal in Australia, but just for entertainment purposes only, because nobody here breaks the law and takes steroids. Dude, you guys are taxing the hell out of your liver, kidneys, and your heart. And one of the main benefits of goBHB is a healthy liver, kidney, and heart. And let's say you just like going out drinking, right? You want to do something for your hangover. I mean, think about it. Similar pathway, the PMS to the, to the concussions. I know this sounds weird, paralleling drinking to that, but you got to think about how it works. Like, you're giving your brain energy to recover from whatever the hell just happened. So even someone who has a recreational adult beverage here and there, someone who just lives life, who wants to be the best in the office, who doesn't want to fall asleep at 1 p.m. during work, it's something everyone, whether you're an enhanced athlete, a natural athlete, or just a dude who sits at the desk and trains before or after work, it's something that's going to definitely help you.
Man, I think that's becoming a big area as well. I think seeing high performers over here, I've got an audience of guys who are like, because we formulate in a particular way, it attracts an audience of people who appreciate quality, and often they're high performers trying to really optimize health. They have no interest in being average. They want to optimize everything, right? And particularly, I've noticed a lot of the guys, therefore, they're running businesses, they're in high demand roles themselves, and a lot of the demand that we're having now is around supplements to help with cognition, focus, and just being sharp all day, and not the peaks and troughs sort of sharp that we get with caffeine or stimulants. They're wanting the longer lasting effect. So would you say, for that consumer who's looking for the guy who's the high performer, trying to optimize, trying to be really dialed in throughout the day, who wants that cognitive boost, you were saying sort of 5 grams is cool, we can get up to 10. Is there a sweet spot you find for that particular consumer who's looking for that real, just that cognitive edge, being sharp both in the gym and the boardroom sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, here's the easy way: 5 to 10 grams pre-workout, or pre and intra. I like 5 pre, 5 intra, and then 5 grams 2 more times throughout the day. So what I do is I have a shaker cup, and I fill it with whatever, I put the hydroglyphs in here right now. That's Ambrosia's drink. But whatever your flavored drink of choice, toss a scoop of goBHB in there, and you'll go through 2 or 3 of those a day. So in 2 of those a day, just put a scoop in. That's what I recommend. There'll be energy shots here and there. I definitely think if you come out with one, they should buy your brand and support you because you're the one bringing them all this information. So I would almost recommend everybody don't take it until you get one because that'd be weird. That'd be weird. Unless you got an affiliate link with a brand and we're like, okay, I'm at least getting paid a little bit for all this information. No, I think it's our job. It's funny. It's a funny world, the internet, where if you believe in something, and I don't blame everybody because there's a ton of, remember, what was that brand? Shreds. Remember Shreds?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. It was all fairy dusted bullshit. It was all marketing gimmicks and it was a scam. And the consumer in the world, I'm not going to say, I usually would say in America, look, you guys have gotten screwed in Australia just as much or more than us in America.
100%.
And you and I, unfortunately, will get called scammers just for saying scientifically backed comments and statements about things we truly believe in. And we would go on a lie detector test. I'll put everything I say I believe in, I'll put it on my kid's life, my life, everything that's holy to me. And I look, I know you guys aren't a huge Christian nation. Like I live in Tennessee. Like we love us some Jesus in Tennessee, right? Like if y'all ever been to the South, so I believe in God, right? And I'm not saying you have to. I was agnostic for 41 years of my life. I'm not mad. I was born a Jew. So look, man, I'm not mad at anyone who hasn't accepted or believe. Accept is weird. It's like, why won't you accept it? Who doesn't believe what I believe? I'm not that guy. But I also feel that answering to a higher power puts me in a better place to make moral decisions for myself because I have to answer to the fact that I believe in hell and I don't want to go there. And lying to people, in my opinion, is a good way to go to hell. And I really don't. I hear it's really bad there. Like it's not the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is heaven. Like you're Melbourne. Surrounded by bronze chicks and bikinis. It's awesome. So
it's the opposite of the Gold Coast. It's the opposite of the Gold Coast is where we don't want to end up.
It's Melbourne. Melbourne is hell.
It's Melbourne, right? We're going to Melbourne if you lie.
You guys know what hell is if you've been to Melbourne.
Man, isn't it? Fuck. Man, I love that you're right about the moral piece, right? Because it is such a thing.
I'm right about Melbourne too.
Yeah, we'll send a care basket to Melbourne for. But yes. Mate, I love that you've done that because I think the moral compass piece is here in Australia. Definitely, we got screwed over for fucking years, man, by the supplement industry. It was all prop blended, over marketed, under formulated. The thing was just it was all marketing gimmicks and zero actual formulation for so many years. It's what got me building the brand. Was there was this huge gap where I was going, everything. If you know how to read a study or even a single ingredient, the dose you need, or any of these things, you'd understand that everything was being sold to you as a lie, and it was nothing was going to help and nothing was being effective. And so I always swore when I started the brand, I'll build things. If I want to build a tool to fix a problem, it will fix the problem. I will not make something. I won't release it. I don't care what it looks like on a profit and loss statement. I won't release it unless it fixes that issue. And you have to burn the boats on that because there's no half, right? There's no I'll make it. I'll put throwing in a BHB salt, talking about these therapeutic benefits. It works at 2, 5, 10, 15, whatever. Putting in 500 milligrams so you can have it on the label doesn't do any benefits for anyone, and it just puts.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? So it's just I see that all the time, man. The supplement industry, unfortunately, is both a great place for innovation and new science, but also a terrible place for, unfortunately, a lot of consumers get burned by people who are underdosing and sprinkling things, and who don't care about ingredients like we do. So it's good you said that, man.
It's margin too. Like to make a good product costs a lot of money. These patented ingredients,
they're expensive.
Like Infinity, I'm not going to mention the per kilo cost. That issue is expensive, right? You buy the high quality like Alpha Gold or Alpha, the Alpha GPC that is patented. Anytime you get even I have a nattokinase product and I put something called Nattiase, which is from France. It's the EU version. It costs like 10 times the stuff you get from China. And I love China. Obviously there are amazing plants in China, but what some brands will do, they'll just go to 10 different China. You don't know where you're getting it from. They don't test it thoroughly. And and it's you're playing Russian roulette. It might be good material, it might not be good material, it might be made in good conditions, it might not. By going with someone like NNB or TSI or Ketone Labs, those are brands that care about what's in their material, and they're also brands that are putting 8 figures plus a year into science to validate those ingredients. And they're all made, they all, when they get made, and I know this because I see them, they all have their kosher certificates, their halal, their different microbial testing.
Yes.
And that's what you're buying when you have a patented ingredient. That's why looking for something like Purist, looking for something like goBHB, looking for something like Infinity, that's where you're getting that benefit. Is you're getting that peace of mind that you're getting not only the qualitative and quantitative claims on that label, but you're also getting clean stuff without impurities.
It's becoming massive now, man. I think we've got a more informed consumer. We spoke about AI before and how we've got more access to information than ever. I actually really love this area of it's forcing transparency amongst brands, which is brilliant because it also shines a light on people who are doing the right thing. But we did the same thing. We partnered with NNB with that, and I'll be bringing out a heap of more stuff in that area as well, and likely working with yourself on a really cool project as well, man. I'm sure, and I think those trademarked ingredients cost the earth. Some of those are thousands of dollars a kilo. And it adds single ingredients alone can be a third of an entire product's formulation, but it gives you what the actual customer is buying, right? This thing does what it says it does as per studies, used with this ingredient at the doses in this product. And it's the closest thing you can get to actually having bona fide evidence that this will do what it says it does. And I think that's what consumers want now. They want to know that what they're putting their hard-earned money towards, they can actually get the results from. And we as formulators want to know that we can, if we want this pathway or this mechanism or this, to optimize something in a certain way, it'll actually do it. And some of those ingredients you mentioned, man, are brilliant for that. Like paraxanthine is really popping off now as a great alternative to caffeine. What's your experience been, mate, working with Infinity and with paraxanthine?
So basically, if you guys don't, I'm sure you've explained this, but paraxanthine, so there's 3 components to caffeine: theophylline, theobromine, and paraxanthine. Paraxanthine is about 80% of the 3 when you look at a caffeine molecule, but it's also the energy component. So theobromine has a slight energy component. Paraxanthine has a good energy component. Theophylline is kind of like, like theophylline is kind of not very good. So you're taking the chief energy component, and by getting rid of theophylline and theobromine, you're getting rid of a lot of those negative side effects that can come with caffeine consumption. Some people get stomach discomfort, some get the jitters. So essentially, you're getting something I would call cleaner energy, and I think it's a phenomenal breakthrough. I do think it makes sense. And so if you have a component where 80% of it's doing all the work and 20% of it is giving the negatives, it just makes sense to synthesize that component of it. And that's where I see paraxanthine having a tremendous edge on other energy components in the industry.
No, it's great. It's great to see it's really pushing. It's like it's accelerating the innovation lately. I'm really enjoying watching some of the great things coming out of the US at the moment, where I went over there twice last year. I think I did something like I did 6,000 miles for your guys in the first trip in a rental car, and then 4,000 miles the second time around. So it was for
you got to come out to Nashville, Tennessee, brother.
Oh, I should have, man. I did do I did Texas and really went down to some awesome expos and some biohacking conventions and had a time, man. So definitely Tennessee's on the radar. I'll come over.
Gotta go. You got to come to God's country out here, man. We'll get you some barbecue and a Bible and a gun, and you'll be good to go. And that's the thing about Tennessee. I know you Australians get a little weird for it, but everybody carries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are. Everybody stays strapped up in the hood here.
So they should, man. I grew up on a farm myself. I grew up with a gun in my hand since I was a kid, so it's normal.
You're not like those Melbourne people.
No, it's not like it is in hell. No. Poor Melbourne. We've shit on them half this episode.
I'm so sorry, Melbourne. Melbourne people they're gonna be fine with this because they're gonna agree.
they're gonna. But I agree with you. The US is a great place. It's a real especially the South. Man, funnily enough, in Texas, it's this melting pot for entrepreneurs and formulators and guys who are starting startups and doing amazing things with innovation. Right, it's really cool to see.
Yes.
The pace that it's happening to is brilliant. Before, we had this bit of a lull there, I feel, in the industry for a good few years, probably after the like when it like Teacrine, Dynamine, and a few some exciting things were happening in the stimulant world. Post Dynamine getting here in Australia got banned because we're just lame, and a lot of things unfortunately does.
Why?
Man, I know it's this was like no LD50, beautifully safe, phenomenally well tolerated, brilliant stimulant. I used it in heaps of products. Customers loved it. Let's ban it because the TGA, whatever.
Canada banned vitamin K.
Good old Canada.
I mean, if there was ever a reason for Trump to just bomb Canada, that's it. I mean, I think Democrats and Republicans can unite on that one, right? Like
nothing else.
They banned vitamin K. Yeah, let's take them. Let's make it the 51st state.
That was the thing that stepped over the line. that
was it. That was
people
it.
need their K.
But it's okay. We beat them at hockey this week, so it's good.
We're winning. But in that like area, it is really cool to see all that innovation coming out. So for you, what's getting like BHB's been big for you. You've been working with NNB. It seems like Infinity's really taking up some bandwidth as well, man. But for yourself, what do you think? What do you predict being the next big things as we sort of come to an end on this one? Like, what do you see the next trends in the fitness industry coming up? Because you've been around this thing for decades. So what are you seeing emerging now? Where do you think our listeners are gonna be seeing more and more stuff come out from your part of the world in the near future?
Oh man, it's moving really fast. So I'm going to go with what Marc Glazer, who owns NutriBio, phenomenal man. I respect him he says the biggest ingredient combo, I'm going to go by what other people say first, is going to be creatine and goBHB because the synergies.
Yep.
That's his prediction.
That's
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that was maybe someone will steal his idea, but whatever. And so I think you're going to see, I really think we're lacking innovation right now. I know that NNB is doing some things with amino acids that are pretty cool.
Yes.
That are going to be very exciting to see. I think you're going to see gut health. I know there's a company coming out with something called an autobiotic, which is like a probiotic, but it actually helps your body produce its own microbiome. It helps your body produce its own organisms. So it's called an autobiotic, and no one has it right now. And I think that's going to be a huge sector that's going to open up. And then I just see different delivery methods. I see things from pop rocks to gummies. Gummies are getting really big right now. I think, is it Goli is now $1 billion brand.
It's wild.
Just selling greens gummies, which just look weird to me, but people like gummies. I'm a powder guy. Like, give me a shaker cup and some powder. I'll put 12 different flavors in this and I'll be fine. I also eat basically rice and a meat every meal, so I'm not really that hard to please. You know, I think that you're going to see delivery be a huge component of what people are doing. I do think autobiotic is going to be something that we see towards the end of this year. I think someone's going to come out with it, figure out how to deliver it and how to package it. Pretty excited about that.
Gut health is huge.
But I think
gut health is a massive one, isn't it?
Yeah, gut health is everything. I think you're going to see a lot of current ingredients get used for other applications in the States right now. I don't know if you're seeing it in Australia, but creatine is seeing. So you had creatine, it kind of launched. Basically, everybody thought it was a steroid when Bill Phillips launched it with EAS and phosphagen. And then it kind of like had steady growth, kind of plateaued. And now you're seeing this drastic rise. And creatine hasn't even begun, because creatine, now they're finding all this new data on, basically counteracting the effects of sleep deprivation. That was a great study that came out. Now it's being used in cognition, Alzheimer's. So I think you're going to see a lot of current ingredients with new applications. As for what's coming on down the line, I think you're going to see delivery pouches like Zins, but with supplements in them. I think that's going to be a huge category for the industry. And I think you're going to see a resurgence, but I think we're going to focus a lot on cognitive and gut health. And I think that we're also going to see immunity be a thing. I think that what we learned in 2020 and 2021 is the government's not going to save you no matter what country you're in, how good your healthcare is. You have to save yourself. And by having a strong immune system and a healthy body and mind, you're more likely to be safer should something else happen. So I think that those are things that I think people are paying more attention to their overall health. A lot less people are drinking alcohol.
Yes.
At least in the States, alcohol industry is hurting right now because not as many people are drinking alcohol, which is fascinating. We have the least alcoholic generation in Gen Z of our lifetimes.
It's huge, isn't it?
So
It's a massive shift towards it, man. It's quite funny where like health as an industry is exploding and people's awareness is exploding. And I think it's finally, and we're filling in a lot of blanks at a rapid pace. And I think probably AI and research is probably helping along this speed of things, because we're seeing people like with gut health, for example, launched a gut health product last year, and seeing how many different pathways and different species that bacteria you can use and what that can do on metabolic function, cognitive function. Like, insane, right? Like it's a whole new frontier. Like, we're still learning so much about it, and it's coming along at a really cool pace. When I was in the States, I noticed that'd have to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. When you walk into any supplement store or any health food store, natural grocer, Whole Foods, and there was always it's a whole bay, right? Whereas here in Australia, it's still developing. You know what I mean? So when we launched that here, we were sort of one of the early guys in the frontier here, using like Akkermansia and really cool strains that are sort of up and coming. But I agree with you, mate. I think that's going to be a massive area of interest, just like mitochondrial function for sure.
Yeah, you might want to clip that one, because I don't think I've heard anyone else talk about autobiotics on the internet. I think that might have been too inside information for everybody. But I think it's but I'm not saying you can replace. I'm saying that that is an adjunct, or even it could be a major source. But I still believe in probiotics. I think those are great. I still think those are going to be huge, but I think we're just going to see a focus on health, longevity, cognition, because in America, and I believe in Australia as well, like our replenishment rates are low, meaning the population's getting older. People aren't having as many kids. Mm-hmm. And so we're having an older population. And a lot of these people like me, you turn 45 and you're like, your goals go from, I want to be big and strong to I want to be pretty big, pretty strong. And I want to live a long, healthy life. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are now realizing, with all the information at our fingertips, what it takes to do that. And that's taking care of yourself and potentially looking into supplements and different methods to live a better lifespan and health span.
And take control of your own health, I think, mate, is a key sort of message here running through most of the episode as well, man. Being responsible for optimizing your own health, not relying on the system to fix you when you're broken. Don't be broken in the first place. Let's actually look at those. And they're some of those core areas, even though we're saying they're emerging areas in a commercial market. For people listening, these are actually areas you should, if you look at any of these, if you look at gut health, mitochondrial function, longevity, those three pillars become the foundation for health overall anyway. So if you look at even if you just, close your eyes and just point at one of those three, you're going to feel better. You're going to live a better life as a result. So even though they're up and comers in the game, and I agree, man, I think those are going to be huge. Mate, 100% agree. So Marc, I know it's getting into the evening, man. I really appreciate you coming on and covering some new areas that I think most of our listeners wouldn't even know are on the radar yet, because you're in so many conversations that a lot of people aren't. So thank you for sharing some of the new things that are coming up, mate, some of the innovation. And jumping on here, man, and just sharing a bit of passion you've got around it. It's really clear, around the industry. I really love it.
Man, I love being here, man. It's good to finally connect. And next time you're in the States, my kids have all left the house. I got plenty of space. Bring your entire crew. I have a home gym. I have a sauna. My cold plunge is broken, but nonetheless, I think, and we have all you can eat chicken. So
what is Tennessee? I was expecting wings.
No, not in a bodybuilder's house. We're still eating the breasts, but you're always welcome here, man. And we'd love to have you in our, and no matter, guys, I don't know what you're seeing on the news, but America's fine. We're good. Like, it's not just one big war zone. That's just Minnesota. And we don't claim them. We're giving them to Canada. We're fine. We're good.
You can have Minnesota and vitamin K. That's it. Just push that over the border. We'll just push that north.
We'll give you, and then just nuke it all.
Man, what a beautiful
America.
Yeah, this is where it's like a Team America skit towards the end there. We'll cut that as its own
Bald
little reel.
eagle flying over.
I'm expecting it like a comic. Man.
Shooting a machine gun.
The very like Doug Miller-esque America Lab style label coming out of here, just flashing over the screen.
Oh my God. Yeah, that brand's out of pocket, man. I love it, but I look at some of it, I'm like, damn, I'm pretty out there, but man, that is way out there, right? Like, talk about going after a specific consumer.
Oh man, he's a patriot. He is, but man, I'll wrap it there.
That's one word for Doug. I love Doug. Doug's one of my best friends, by the way. So
no, it's cool, but thanks for coming on, and we'll have you on next time.